So this is Chang chapter 1, studying for the AP test, the study of change. First off, the chapter talks about the scientific method, talks about the qualitative observations, which is the ones using your senses like smell, sight, things of that nature. Quantitative is the measurements that we do. A hypothesis is also mentioned within the scientific method as a tentative explanation for a set of observations. Remember, it should be testable. Not necessarily has to be that if-then statement, but oftentimes is. And then a law is a statement of relationship between phenomena that is always the same under the same conditions. So gravity is a good example of a law. And a theory is a unifying principle which explains a body of facts. The theory of evolution is commonly a theory that we do. So a theory explains why certain things occur the way they do. A law is more of a statement of this is what happens. Oftentimes there's a mathematical expression associated with it. Classifications of matter is anything that occupies space and has a mass is considered matter. A pure substance is a form of matter with definite composition and distinct properties. These include elements and compounds. So if you look on the periodic table, those are pure substances. A compound could be like H2O for water, NaCl for sodium chloride. They're the same throughout. They do not change their composition. Mixture, on the other hand, does change its combination because you could have, for example, saltwater solutions of varying concentration. Heterogeneous and homogeneous are the two breakdowns for a mixture. Homogeneous meaning the same throughout, like salt water. Heterogeneous could be something more like an emulsion, a water-oil mixture where there's one layer on top of the other. As for states of matter, the three primary states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. They differ on how close the molecules are to each other. We'll talk about more with that when we get to thermodynamics. But obviously solid closer together, gas further apart. And then each state can be converted to the other, usually through the transfer of either heat or pressure as well can alter that. Physical property can be measured or observed without changing the composition or identity of the substance. On the other hand, a chemical is a change that must occur chemically. Extensive properties are referred to in the book as they depend on how much matter is being measured. So mass and volume are two of those. Intensive, it does not matter how much you have. Density is the same no matter how much you use. A 1 pound block of ice will have the same density as a 500-pound block of ice. As for measurements, make sure to know your SI units, so your grams you should know, liters you should know, and then also you should know meters, and then how to convert between them, and then milli is a very common one, centi, kilo. Sig digs, or significant figures, is often referred to as. Remember, when you're multiplying or dividing two numbers, round to the least amount of digits within that measurement. So if you have two numbers and you're dividing the two, whichever one had the least number of digits, that's what you should use. Adding and subtracting, though, is a little bit different. What you want to do is figure out what they have in place that's lasting common. So in other words, if I had a number like 4.25 and I was adding 1.2 to it, they both have the tenths place in common, so that's where my final answer would have to be. Again, accuracy and precision. Accuracy is how close to the known value it is, and then precision is how close multiple measurements are to one another. You'll see a lot of times textbooks use a bullseye to represent this, where if you hit the bullseye, that is accurate. Now, if you hit the same spot over and over again, like say you hit 18 over and over again on a dartboard, that would be precise because multiple measurements are close to one another, but it's not accurate because you're aiming for the bullseye. You can actually be accurate but not precise if all of your darts are around the bullseye but they never hit. The average would be the bullseye itself. And obviously the best could be accurate and precise where we are all hitting the same value. That is all for Chapter 1 of Chang Chemistry.